If there's one thing that I want you to believe, either now or by the end of this video, is that most people will never get to where they want to be in life, but you can. But it's not gonna happen by accident. You know, it's not gonna happen just because you kinda, sorta want it to happen. You have to make it happen. You have to will it to happen, and you have to give your life for it. And it reminds me of the Tom Brady quote where he basically says, you know, if you're going to compete against me, you're going to have to be willing to give up your life because I've given up mine. I'm making it sound super serious, but I do have an incredible amount of fun with what I do. I actually like working. I enjoy what I do. And so I'm starting to do these monthly achievement reports. And so I'm going to be doing this for the foreseeable future. This is basically everything that I'm doing to build a massive social media audience, grow my business to $100,000 a month, read all of the greatest books ever written, and develop a world-class physique. It's all here in this achievement report. One of the purposes of these videos naturally is to help you achieve your goals by showing you how I'm achieving mine. See, I love to motivate people by my example, and I love to be a great resource for ambitious people like you who do not want to live like everyone else. That's what I'm good at. That's what I can do for you with these videos and everything that I write. But it comes back to what I want you to believe in the beginning, which is that, you know, most people, they just will never even come close to, you know, doing their best or, you know, actualizing what's possible for them in their lives. And many of them will wind up depressed, purposeless, unmotivated, you know, beaten down by life. They will stay exactly where they are, you know, lazy, ignorant, apathetic, defeated. But that doesn't have to describe you. And another very important thing to realize is that where you start does not have to determine where you end up. Now, I tend to get a little intense with this stuff, but really it's just because I have no intention of wasting my one and only life by just like sitting around doing nothing. And like, you don't have to like do anything, like you don't have to achieve anything to be a worthwhile person. But, you know, like I couldn't just sit around and just wait to die. Like that's what you're doing. You're just sitting around waiting to die. That's not me. Like that's not what any self-respecting human being should do, right? No matter what it is. So what am I actually working towards? What do I actually want? This is the very first step. You need to spell out clearly and vividly what it is that you actually want out of life, or you're just never going to get it. And this isn't some vague, mystical law of attraction stuff either. It's a matter of becoming amazingly clear about the vision you have for your one and only life and knowing exactly where you mean to end up. If you don't have that, you just end up drifting around and you won't get anywhere. So here's what I actually want. I want an insanely profitable online business where I inspire my millions of followers to read the best books, push themselves in the gym, give back to others in their community, and help the people around them win too. I also want to do great work publishing content that I can be proud of. I want to have the free time to spend with my parents and my friends and develop deep relationships with the people in my life that make it worth living. I want to have the time freedom to read books pretty much all day, work out at the gym, developing an incredible world-class physique in the process, and just have the peace of mind of knowing that I can do what I want virtually anytime I want to do it. Now, I have more detailed, concrete versions of those statements, you know, written out where I look at them every single day. Like it's you have to have that clear picture in your mind. But that's just a very brief way of describing what it is that I'm actually moving toward. See, I want all of that, and I have a detailed, realistic plan in place to make it fucking happen. So I've got a few different projects on the go, but for the most part, they all fall under the categories of writing and publishing, reading books, and working out. It may seem like I'm going off in several different directions, but as you can see, most of what I do informs and impacts the other stuff. I won't bore you with everything that I'm doing, but you know, here's the major stuff. So the first major project is the Stairway to Wisdom, which is my library. It's a membership site, but it's a library of expert book breakdowns that actually respect your time and your intelligence. And I've got about 115 or 120 of them published so far, with new ones every single week. Obviously, I do a lot of reading. For the last 10 years or so, I've read more than 100 books every single year. So obviously, that's a major part of my life. Writing, which again kind of fits in with the Stairway to Wisdom, but I'm also writing on medium.com, which pays me for my writing, on other websites as well. I'm writing my first book. And a lot of what I do falls under writing, even scripting YouTube videos, it's all writing. Then there's my fitness goals. I work out a lot. Right now I'm recovering from a hernia operation. It went fine, but you know, I won't be able to move any sort of heavy weights for the next little while. I have some charity initiatives that I'm part of. I got the charity reading challenge, where basically raise money for First Book, one of my favorite educational charities. So I've got that going on, and of course my social media presence, my audience growth goals, basically drives a lot of what I do every single day, because I know how important it is to stay on top of that and to sort of expand my efforts there in order to grow my business. So that it's one of my major focuses. So for example, in September, I'm publishing about 1,200 or more individual pieces of content across all my social media platforms, which I'll get to in just a moment here. I know that sounds like a lot, but I do a lot of repurposing as well. So like my threads that I would do for Twitter, I can turn those into a Medium article. Or a Medium article I would turn into a script for a YouTube video, things of that nature, right? So, and then Instagram Reels, I also publish them. I just repost them to YouTube as shorts, and like you can do that. So like 1,200 pieces of content, I maybe, I don't know how many of those are like completely discrete, like original pieces of content, but still quite a few. But not nearly 1,200. I'd never have time for that. I'm going to skip over my long-term goals and my short-term goals, just for the sake of like your interest level. I want to sort of be mindful of that. Like me, like this video is awfully selfish for a YouTube video. I'm basically talking, to my future self, calling my shot to the universe, basically. So I've got long-term goals. Like I want to own part of a space company. I want to travel to outer space and back. Importantly, the back journey. And a few things like that, read 10,000 books, which, I'm a tenth of the way there, like a little more than a tenth of the way there. But I'll put the rest of those goals down below. And then short-term goals, okay, so I will say this though, long-term, I'm one of those like crazy people that have like 100-year plan for my life. I just turned 33. Medical science is pretty insane right now, and I can only imagine like the things they can do right now is like wild, like ridiculous on a level that's just stupid. And you can only imagine like 50, 60, 70 years from now, like what they could do. Like it's pretty insane. So I think, anybody under the age of like, I don't know, I don't even want to give a number because it would change all the time. Like you have to sort of plan on being alive for a long time. So I don't think having 100-year plan is all that crazy. I think you should have one. And when I say short-term goals, I mean like 5 years, 10 years, like 25 years. I think like 25, like 2.5 decades to me is like short-term, which like shows you like just the time scales that I'm thinking about. But the short-term goals, like they, like I want to have like 1 million people on my newsletter. I'm at about 2,300 right now, so a little bit of room to go. I want to make it to like 220 pounds at like 10% body fat. I'm a little bit away from that right now. I think I don't know because of the surgery, but I think I'm at like 190 or something, and I don't even want to know what my body fat is right now. Probably like 15%. But anyway, so, and then 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, again, I'm calling my shot to the universe on that one, because when I'm planning on posting this, I'll be under 1,000 still. So like, I'm talking like 1 million. But again, in like a 10, 15 year time frame, not all that unreasonable. And then I'll fly through this next stuff because it's not going to be interesting to like most people besides me. But this is my social media like audience growth goals. I've been fortunate enough to build like a pretty decent following on Instagram and Twitter, and like I'm building it up on other platforms too. Like I'm making steady progress. I actually have like an audience now, which is pretty insane, and it's also a pretty big responsibility. The way I think about it is that every single follower is a real person, obviously, with real goals and challenges and struggles and interests and like everything that makes them who they are. So yes, I'm building up a massive following online, but I never lose sight of the fact that I'm talking about real, infinitely valuable people who deserve to get my absolute best each and every day. So I'll flash my current stats up on the screen now, so you can see the Stairway to Wisdom. I've got 454 members. My goal is 600 members by the end of the month. The Competitive Advantage, my other free newsletter for it's the premier destination for winners and high achievers. It's got 333 members. I want 600 by the end of the month. I think I can actually do that. The Reading Life, my newsletter, 2,333 right now. I want to get up to 5,000, which is pretty ambitious, but again, I've got a plan in place. YouTube, I want to hit 2,000 subscribers. Instagram, 115,000 followers. Facebook, 1,500 followers. Twitter, 10,000, or X. It'll always be Twitter to me. I'm not going to start saying X. But 10,000 is what I'm going for. Medium, 1,800 followers. LinkedIn, 600. And patrons on Patreon, 25. I'm at 18 right now. That's where they get all my book notes from the 1,200 plus books that I've read. And you can get your name mentioned in my YouTube videos, like right now, and a few other things. So that's my Patreon goal. Fairly modest, but I think I can do it. And then obviously this month is going to be insanely busy with all my social media stuff and what have you. But there are a few things that I'm going to be finishing up, like projects and stuff. I want to, this sounds like pretty insane, but I'm launching my own podcast this month. It's going to be the Competitive Advantage podcast. So I've got that. I've got a minimum viable product of an online course that I'm releasing on self-discipline. That will be released by the end of the month. I'm creating a new sales page for the Stairway to Wisdom. I'm going to appear on a few other podcasts and make some sort of platform updates, stuff like that. And obviously, I'm still going to be reading a ton of books as part of the September reading challenge that I run in support of First Book. I'm going to be finishing Sapiens, finishing Don Quixote, finishing the audio version of Living Untethered by Michael Singer, and 10 other books besides that. So it's a pretty hefty month of some heavy reading, but I think I can do it. But when all is said and done, more is usually said than done. I'm sure you've noticed this. You know, that's the reality. Most people will talk about all these things that they want to do, and then they'll do nothing. And so basically, I like to err on the side of taking massive action, you know, doing even more than I think it might take to reach my goal. So basically, just, you know, pull out the nuclear option and just take so much massive action that it's unreasonable to expect that you won't be successful. Personally, I never reduce my targets. I always increase the level of action that I'm taking. So I hope this was helpful to you in some way. You know, these videos are mostly interesting to me. I realize that mostly on this channel, you will not get these sort of me-focused videos. It's all about, helping you and, sharing the best books. And to that end, I've got some pretty decent book recommendations in this video right here, maybe over here, that you might want to check out too. But I'll see you in the next video, and hey, happy reading.
To do something great, sacrifice is a part of it. It's just the start of it. You can't start then quit. You have to harness this, cause energy is bliss. And when I swing, I miss, but then I swing and hit. So I'ma swing again and I'ma swing again.